That's better. Let's get this season started. Hunkered down on the inside of this pontoon at Fambridge on the River Crouch. It has felt like quite a long and harsh winter. But the frost has now given way to the warmth of the sunlight, and the 2021 season lies stretched out ahead of us. Thank you for clicking on this channel and coming this far. Please allow us to take you further through the winter work projects, and then, at last, we will get this party restarted. My dad used to say that you should always leave a party when it is in full swing, because that way you will only have the best memories of it. This does of course assume that you go to the party in the first place. My advice is to start the party now. Welcome to Season 2 of Adventure Now. Here we are on a beautiful sunny day in January 2021 down at Fambridge on the River Crouch. We've been apart for 2 months.
I have been in Poland visiting my family and friends.
And I've been overseas for a couple of months doing a bit of work, but we're now both back in the UK, we've quarantined and we're ready to get things started.
This season we have decided to bring our bikes with us. So I had my bike shipped from Poland in bits. So we're gonna unpack it now and put it back together.
The only thing that I don't approve of is these silly curly mudguards.
They are not coming off because I don't like my back covered in muck.
Alright, okay.
So cool, thank you.
Owning a boat can basically be described as a long, drawn-out battle with mischief-making gremlins. We replaced the faulty stereo, had to find and rectify some oil leaks on the engine, and then we moved on to the installation of a new 2 kilowatt diesel heater in the stern cabin. We found a home for this under the bed and a position for the control unit that means we don't have to get out of bed to turn the heating on those cold mornings. Now, you have to keep an eye out for these mischief-making gremlins. They can pop up at any time. Here's an unusual problem. What you are witnessing here is my Stepford crew going offline and AWOL from Altor. Here it is trying to reacquire a GPS signal, but unfortunately without success. It may all look quite harmless, but believe me, these situations can escalate quickly. I pursued at a safe distance until I was able to recapture, plug it in and update the software. After the update, which was detailed as bug fixes and improvements, we went out for a test. GPS, heading sensor and return to home function all worked flawlessly, so we were able to return to Altor and get on with the work. A little water leak was found and cured, and reassembly as usual is far more satisfying than destruction. One of the most time-consuming jobs was the addition of insulation in the stern cabin and under the floors throughout the boat. We used closed-cell EVA foam in the form of gym floor mats, and also synthetic rock wool designed for insulating camper vans stuffed into small spaces. Next, things got very exciting indeed when we put up our brand new jib. Cut to a slightly different size and shape than the previous one, I cannot wait to get stuck in upwind with this one. This was followed by new brushes and bearings in our wind generator that we rely on so much. Lovely. Some teak oil liberally sprayed around the boat by Miss Stepford. And then
Right, you coming in? Yep.
A well-earned break and dinghy mission. We headed upriver on the incoming tide and enjoyed the spring sunshine. Soon we passed Wooden Ferrers and the lovely Anchor pub on the south side of the river. From here the channel becomes very narrow and winding until you make your final approach to the mill at Battlesbridge. Here we left the dinghy and went for a look around Battlesbridge before catching the outgoing tide back home. Back on board, things had once again entered a very exciting phase. with Sail Medic on board to measure up for our new conservatory. I mean spray hood. But more on that later, because for now, something else is about to happen.
First trip out, season 2 of Adventure Now starts here.
It felt so good to be moving under our own steam again as we passed Creeksea and then Burnham before turning right into the River Roach, where we dropped the anchor and went ashore in the dinghy. Being on the move once again was glorious. To put it simply, we felt free.
First mission, the shore in the dinghy this year, Asha.
Yes.
Onto the MOD land at Shoebury. But Foulness Island is what I would call it, although the sign says Shoebury. Stick to the path, that's what the sign says, and that's what we'll do. We've walked to the old church on Foulness Island, and up close, in a bit of a sorry state. Everything's got a bit of a lean on. It's certainly showing signs of age and unfortunate neglect. It's a lovely, peaceful place.
Beautiful.
Isn't it?
It's beautiful. Very nice. Like all the stonework and like all the ironwork, the lantern in front. Just
It's beautiful, but it is all leaning over that, isn't
yeah,
it?
it is leaning.
It was a shame to see this church falling into disrepair, along with the second place of worship built right next door. But on a positive note, we can see that this village was once very efficiently run, and we have some idea of how water was turned into wine.
Flat and desolate lands of Foulness Island. There's all the strange MOD buildings, but the public right-of-way that we are sticking to as instructed. Very good, well done you.
I'm always so good.
Well done. Is this meant to be a crisscross
That is
time
just,
walk?
No.
You remember crisscross?
No, I have never
They used to wear their clothes back to front.
Oh, okay.
The observant will have noted that I approached this worrying development with humour. Following some erratic behaviour, Stepford has wandered off on her own again. However, on this occasion I needn't have worried, because she had simply advanced herself into drinks vending mode.
What a lovely spot for a cup of coffee.
Indeed.
Yes, please.
But as with any cutting-edge AI, it pays to be cautious. We enjoyed our coffee in the beautiful sunshine and then made our way back to Altor, where we relaxed for the evening and witnessed a beautiful moonrise in the River Roach.
It's the 2nd of March. We're doing about 2.5 knots, cruising from the River Roach up the River Crouch, just about to pass Burnham. And I've come down to put a bit of breakfast on, and it is warm and toasty with the fire burning as we go. So I've never actually been this warm and toasty underway, because it is chilly outside, but we are sailing again. Season 2, we are sailing. Yes! Very happily creeping along at 3.4 knots with the tide and a very, very gentle 2.5 to 3 knot breeze. All the times when you sail and it's hectic and it's rough, you need to remember that sometimes it's like this. The wind is behind you, you are in no rush, and the tide is carrying you towards your destination.
Ready, Evo?
I'm ready.
Leo.
Of course, it wouldn't really be a fair representation of the facts if we only showed peace, tranquility and sunsets. We did of course have our fair share of winter gales rolling through, and it always surprises me quite how lumpy the upper reaches of the River Crouch can be in a wind over tide situation. Once again, we were really grateful to be on the inside of this dock, away from all the lumps and bumps on the river and being blown off the pontoon. We happily observed the snake-like formation in the middle of the river and enjoyed the stability of the big pontoon that we were securely tied to. Before long, a period of calm returned and allowed outdoor work to continue.
There's Asher, top of the mast, lovely view. Little rig inspection here before departure.
Everything up the mast looked to be in good condition. The only area of disappointment is that it appears not all of Altor's passengers treat her with the respect that we would like. Back down at deck level, someone has worked their magic and turned this into this. We have only lived with this for a few short weeks, but we can already tell that this is going to transform our cruising life aboard. And with that done, we are ready.
Well, as usual, time has done what time does. It has marched on. 3 months of good hard work on the boat. We're ready for another adventure, and the morning of departure has arrived. And we're away from the dock. Thank you, Fambridge. Good few months, good winter berth. We're on the mud.
Are we?
0 metres on the mud.
Yeah, right. I wasn't expecting that. So cue, I don't know, wind whistling noises, just so we can distract anyone watching while we wiggle Altor off this lump of Essex mud.
I think we're moving.
And after that unscheduled stop, we once again left Fambridge in our wake and headed east out of the River Crouch, but not before seeing my family just one more time.
Here we go again. The sad part of waving to my lovely family. From the same point they waved us off and welcomed us back. Starting to form a habit. Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Wendy.
We're going to bail out into the slightly deeper channel here now.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you when we're in the Orwell. Take care. Love you. Bye. Bye. Well, that bit never gets any easier, I can tell you that. Goodbye to Burnham, family, River Crouch. Onwards for our new adventure, 2021.
So there you have it. That's us leaving the River Crouch with a gentle breeze but against a fairly strong tide. We sailed and we motor sailed, and here we are passing Flyer, our neighbour at Fambridge, who quite frankly was trying much harder than us without his engine. We passed this boat going across the Swin Spitway, and then we gently sailed up the Wallet and seemed to quickly fall back into the relaxed cruising routines. We had a lovely view of the Naze Tower and crept along the coast until we entered the familiar Harwich Harbour.
Those two buildings used to make the transit line for the approach to Harwich Harbour in the old days. Sandbanks have long since shifted and made them nothing more than lovely historic relics.
Anyone who has watched our previous videos knows how I feel about this place. It doesn't really feel like we've left yet, because this is home from home.
I think it's only a bit of a rope with a loop.
Okay, we'll see.
Metal loop inside.
See what you can do with it. Want a hand?
Yes, please.
Well, I don't think we could have hoped for day one of Adventure Now Season 2 to go any better. Here we are in a sun-drenched cockpit in my favourite river, drinking my favourite whiskey with my favourite girlfriend. We left the River Crouch this morning at 8:30 and we had an awesome trip here, didn't we?
Oh, we did, yes. It was a bit chilly, but we get on with it. As it was sunny, we had light wind, we motored for a bit and sailed and motored again. And we just made it in 8.5 hours to River Orwell.
In time for a beautiful, beautiful sunset. So thank you to everyone who followed us along on Season 1. And we hope you have enjoyed the first episode of Season 2. And the only thing I'd like to do now is to raise a glass to Chris, who came to visit us at Fambridge and supplied the favourite bottle of whiskey. So thank you very much indeed, Chris. Cheers to you.
Cheers, Chris. Na zdrowie.
Oh, so good.
Thank you so much for watching episode 1 of season 2 Adventure Now. We hope you will join us next time as we continue the journey north. Altor out. That was a long wait for my favourite whiskey. Cheers.